Hello everyone and welcome to our channel, Rebecca, Stu, and the crew. I'm Rebecca. Today we have some Dollar Tree Halloween DIY ideas. So let's go over our supplies for our first project. We'll need some cardstock, also some Dollar Tree rope, and one of their shadow box style frames. We're going to need some ribbon of your choice, as well as some felt. We'll use that for the eyes. We'll need some paint, a paintbrush, and some glue. I'm going to use a glue stick. So this 3-in-1 glue and hot glue. We'll also need some scissors. And I'm going to use these little beads as some accents in the small flower kit, also from Dollar Tree. So let's get creative, you crafty crew. The first thing we're going to do is remove the backing to our shadow box style frame. This one was filled with these little star sequins. I actually kept them. I don't know, I might use them in another craft project. But for now, we'll put those aside. Then we'll take that frame, insert the matting, and we're just going to flip our cardstock over and trace around it in the corner so that we can create a new backing. We're going to go ahead and just cut those out with our scissors. And then we'll hold that up next to the frame matting to see if it fits. If it's a little bit too big, we're just going to trim it down on the edges to make sure it's the right size. Then we'll pop that in the frame, make sure it still looks good. And then using that frame kind of template, we're going to use that just to kind of position and measure out how much rope we're going to need so we can cut that down to size and not worry about using all of it at the moment. Then taking a glue stick, we're just going to glue that glitter paper down to the backing. And then I'll take these small clips from Dollar Tree and I'll put that all around the outside edge to hold the paper down and give it a little while to dry. So while that's drying, I'm going to take this Beacon 3-in-1 glue. I really like this glue. I get it at Hobby Lobby and it has a really quick hold, but you can still position things, like, it gives you a few seconds to move things around, but it has a really great hold and dries kind of quickly. So all I'm going to do is put a tiny bead of glue down in the center of the rope and then push the pieces together, hold them in place for 5-6 seconds, 10 at the most, and it's going to have a nice grab and hold the rope together. Sometimes it's nicer to use this than like hot glue. The hot glue is kind of thick and will push the pieces apart a little bit. And I just decided I was going to use this glue, but hot glue will work in this instance. You can use either, or it really is just personal preference. So again, we're just going to keep wrapping this and holding it together until we get all of the rope in position. And then once that's done, we're going to have to cut a few pieces apart to create our ghost. We want sort of like this little raggedy, weathered, material look to the bottom. So what we're going to do is just cut the loops that were still connected. And then once the loops are connected, you want to take your scissors or a pin or something. You can use your fingers too and just pull the rope apart. So you have these scraggly looking ends. If it's not completely even, that's okay. You kind of want that look. I even kind of went in with my scissors and cut it at like a wavy kind of look at the bottom, so it looks more like the bottom of a ghost, like a floating ghost. And then Ranger has come to help as usual. Whenever there's ribbon, he loves to come and help me with that. So we're just creating a bow. So what we're going to do is create a small loop with our ribbon. So you put a little bit of glue on that bottom edge and then fold the second piece over to create a loop. And then once you do, just hold that in place for a second and it will grab. Hold pretty nicely. Now to create your bow, you want to fan fold towards the middle and then take the edges and fan fold them towards the back. Put a little tiny dot of glue right in the middle of the bow and just pinch it together for a few seconds to let it dry. And while it's drying, that gives you plenty of time to give Ranger some loving here. He really likes to be the center of attention and definitely wants this ribbon quite badly. So now we're just going to add some more glue and wrap this small piece of ribbon around the middle to finish off the bow. And then we'll glue that to our ghost. So I chose the color pink because it's like really in this year. I noticed a lot of the craft stores have tons of craft projects with pink. So I thought, why not? Let's try it. So we're going to use pink in this video. we're going to take these little flowers. We'll paint one of them pink. And then I had these beads that I've had for forever from Dollar Tree. I chose one of the rose beads, put that in the middle of the flower, and then we'll use that to dress up our little ghost a little bit here. So we'll just glue that to the corner. Then with our felt, we're just going to cut 2 ovals out for the eyes. And then once we figure out if they're the right size, we kind of just eyeballed it here, then we'll glue those on. Once that's done, take a little bit of the pink paint and a paintbrush. You're going to wipe off most of the excess before you go in and paint these little rosy cheeks. But, you know, less is more. You could always go back in and put more on. So just do a little bit at a time. And then if you want to, you can go ahead and fluff up some more of the ribbon at the bottom to really give it that kind of raggedy, weathered feel. And then we'll put some glue on the back of our rope ghost here, and we'll glue her to the middle of the cardstock. And then again, I went back and decided let's rough up the edges just a little bit more. So I'm using this Cricut tool. Seemed to really do the trick. Once that's done, all we have left to do is pop her back into the frame. She's already on the backing. Fix the little hooks there, and that's it. This one is already done. Now for project number 2, we are going to go through the supplies. We'll need some foam board, just a small piece, also some Dollar Tree rope and ribbon of your choice. We're also going to use some more of that felt to make more eyes, and we'll need a wood round for a base, some wood stems, and a dowel rod. We're also going to use some little like pumpkins, some fall words, these furniture scratch markers, some scissors, and some glue. So let's get crafty. The first thing we're going to do is create a half circle, and we are going to use that as our base. And then I cut about 10-inch long pieces of this rope. I start gluing the outside edge first. I start with the middle to make sure that it lines up really well. And then I just keep going and start in the center and then glue out towards the edges, and then just keep going until you have the whole thing filled in. And then I don't want them completely free all the way down, so I go about 2 or 3 inches past that foam board and glue the rope together, but the rest of it I'm going to let just hang free form. Then we'll unravel the rope to really make it look kind of like a raggedy kind of material sheet-like ghost. And then once it's unraveled, if you feel like you're going to need to trim it at all or even up the edges or wave them up a little bit, then that would be your opportunity to go ahead and work on the ends. But we're going to leave ours pretty much as is. Now we'll take those pieces of felt like we did earlier and glue those to the front for the eyes. Another bow. This time I just took a piece of baker's twine and pulled that tight in the center to create the bow. And you can make this as big or as little as you want, and you also don't have to add a bow, it's just personal preference. I'm trying to incorporate the pink for all of these little projects here. So we'll just continue on with the kind of design, the look that we're going for. Then I took this lace ribbon, I wrapped that around the middle just to give it a different look than the last bow that we made. And we're just hot gluing that on, making sure that the ends are in the back. And then we'll go ahead and glue that to the ghost. And now we're going to add the dowel rod to the back and then add this to our base. You just want to hold that in place until you make sure that it's standing straight up. And we'll start decorating the base. So I have this wood stem, some small pumpkins and greenery. I have the little pumpkins sitting on the wood stem. The fall word, I used the furniture scratch markers to color that in, and then just glued that to the bottom of the dowel rod. And I just filled it in with some different leaves and fall decor, all from the Dollar Tree. And then we have this cute little floating ghost on the base. Now for project number 3, the supplies we'll need are some of these wood round pieces from Dollar Tree. Also some purple ribbon this time. We're going to use some paint and paint markers. We're also going to need some paintbrushes and then some more of that glitter paper. These tiny wood frames, they come in a 4-pack. We used a large decorative frame from Dollar Tree and some hot glue. We're also going to need some scissors and a squeegee of some sort, or you can use like an old credit card. It will work as well. So let's get crafty. The first thing we're going to do is take our cardstock and we're going to trace where this is going to land once we put the frame around it. And I'm going to cut it just slightly larger. And then I can go ahead and make sure that that fits. If it does, then we'll go ahead and start making our design. So I'm going to take this bottle of paint, and it is chalk paint. All we're going to do is create an arch. You want to squeeze just a little bit of glue, but you want enough that you can squeegee straight down to create this kind of like see-through ghost. It's okay if you can see the paper on the back. You want to see the paper through it. And then we're just going to keep doing this to layer our ghosts. If you need to, just kind of spread it out a little bit with your paintbrush, push hard, and then pull straight down. If you can do it in one swipe, that's ideal. So again, you're just going to pull straight down. You want to see through the ghost. It's really cute as you layer them. You know, sometimes you can see a little bit better through it. You can see the ghost behind it through the paint, and that's what really makes this a fun project. So we've got all of our family members here. And now we'll start filling it in. So I chose, instead of a paint marker, I chose to go ahead and use a Sharpie because most people have those on hand. And I'll use the paint markers as well. But if you have Sharpies, you can also use those. Just make sure your paint is all the way dry or else it will ruin the tip of the marker. So we're just going to go in and draw our eyes for all of the ghosts in our family portrait. And then I decided to dress them up just a little bit more. So we're going to take this pink paint marker and we're going to draw some bows for the girls. So I'm using the light pink, and I'll go in and add some detail work to it as well. And then I took the darker color, I just went around the outside edge and filled in some details. And then for all the gentlemen in the family, we're going to give them a bow tie with the blue paint marker. And you could, again, use a Sharpie. You could freehand paint. You don't have to put bows on it all. It's just really up to you. Once it was all dry, I used my Sharpie to finish the bow. Ranger came to give me some moral support by holding my hand. And then I went ahead and painted the frame. So again, this is personal preference. You might not want to paint your frame. It's just really up to you. I thought it kind of went with the theme I was going for just a little bit better. And then we'll add our glue around the edges here. I like this glue because it gave me a few seconds time to be able to position it over the family portrait, as opposed to hot glue. Sometimes glue, dries before you can get it all glued together. So once I have this all positioned, I checked to make sure nothing was hanging over the edges, and we'll let that dry. And then we'll start painting the frames for the small portraits. And we're going to use 2 frames for each one. We cut the cardstock out to fit in those frames. And again, we're just going to create an arch and then squeegee down to create our ghost. You do want to have a paper towel so you can wipe your squeegee off in between each ghost, or else it will kind of smudge and mess it up. Once that's dry, go ahead and put your eyes on your ghosts. And then if you are carrying through the family portrait, you'll want to try to do, the same amount of like boys and girls. So we had 1 girl in the portrait and 2 boys. So that is what I did for this one, just pictures of the kids. And then we glue that between the frame to kind of sandwich them in. So we'll just do a little bit of glue, add the cardstock, and then add our second frame on top. And now we've got all of our family portraits done. Now let's put those on some little stands. I thought that would be cute. So we'll paint the dowel rods black and then glue those to the back of the frame. And then we will just put those on these wood slices with a purple bow at the bottom to just dress it up a little bit here. So here's the family portrait done. And then we'll do the kids' pictures. And we did those on different size and different height of dowel rods. So some of them it was easier to do the dowel rod first, let it dry. And then once it was dry, then you can go ahead and add your picture to it. I just added a piece of glue or like a little dot of glue to the top and bottom of the frame and then attach it to the dowel rod in that way. And that seemed to work really well with the dowel rod already in place. And here's our family portrait of Ghost, which I think is so cute on the mantle for Halloween. I thought it was a really cute, fun project to do. I really enjoyed it. It really doesn't take a lot of, craftiness. You don't have to be an artist to be able to do an arch and squeegee it down. So now for supplies for our fourth project, we're going to use this air dry clay. It's found at Dollar Tree. We'll need a tea light candle. And then we're also going to use some kind of a tool to create little holes. And we'll use one of these wooden peg people that Dollar Tree sells. So let's get crafty. So the first thing we're going to do, this is so easy. We're going to take these little like wooden dowel that you get from Dollar Tree. It comes in like a 4-pack. We're just going to roll out some of that air dry clay. So this is going to be small because I wanted to make a bigger one and I had used this and I thought I had it sealed really well and I didn't. So most of it had dried out already. So this was all I had left, but it actually worked quite well. And I was glad I had this little peg to position the air dry clay over it. And then I just keep working my way around, kind of pulling the bottom down. I want it to be wavy looking. That's completely intentional. The most important part is making sure the head at the top is nice and smooth and it's obvious that it looks like a ghost. So just keep positioning it to look like, like a kid trick-or-treating with a large sheet over their kind of like, think of the Peanuts characters where they've got the sheet with all the holes in it. That's pretty much what we're creating out of the clay. If you need to trim it up, go ahead and do that. I'm just taking a small tool. I'm creating eyes. I'm just going all the way through that air dry clay. You want to go all the way through and then just let it dry. Once it's dry for about 12 to 24 hours, you can go ahead and pull that right off of the wooden peg. And it's so fun because it keeps its shape. This is so simple. It's so easy, but it's so cute when it's done. It would look really cute on like a tiered tray. And you just sit it over the tea light candle that flickers. It's so adorable. I love this so much. It looks so cute with our little ghost family that we made. And this would be really cute in different sizes. So if you can find a bag of the air dry clay at Dollar Tree in the white, they have it in other colors as well. Sometimes the white's the most popular, so it's a little bit harder to find, but I guarantee you can find it. And this is so fun. It was so simple to do. So don't forget, we did our girly shadow box frame, the floating girly rope ghost. We also did our beautiful family portraits and then our little air dry glowing ghost. So that was all of our projects today. Which one was your favorite? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and leave a comment down below. I would love to know what your favorite one was out of all of these projects. Thank you so very much for watching. Here's my daughter being goofy, sliding under the candle, under the camera. It's nuts. But she's so much fun. Okay, so that's all for today's video. Thank you all so very much. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.